Life of Princess Augusta Sophia, born on November 8, 1768, was no ordinary princess. She was the sixth child and second daughter of King George III and Queen Charlotte, and her story is filled with fascinating details. When Augusta was born at Buckingham House, her father, King George III, had a strong desire for a baby girl. The doctor attending the birth even remarked that anyone who saw the beautiful princess upstairs would be glad to have another. The king, however, was so determined to have a companion for his beloved Princess Royal that he retorted that anyone who saw that lovely child would wish for her twin. To everyone's joy, the new addition to the family turned out to be a small and pretty girl. On the 6th of December 1768, Augusta was christened in a grand ceremony at St. James's Palace. The Archbishop of Canterbury himself presided over the event, and her beloved godparents included her maternal uncle, Prince Charles of Mecklenburg, the Queen Consort of Denmark, represented by a proxy, and her paternal aunt, the hereditary Duchess of Brunswick-Lunenburg, also represented by a proxy. Even at just 1 month old, Augusta was hailed as the most beautiful infant by Lady Mary Coke. As part of the trio of elder princesses, Augusta, along with her older sister Charlotte and younger sister Elizabeth, had a unique upbringing. Starting in 1771, they began travelling to Kew for lessons under the guidance of Lady Charlotte Finch and Miss Frederica Planter. This shift meant that they spent less time with their brothers, only occasionally crossing paths during their daily walks. In 1774, Martha Goldsworthy, also known as Gooley, became their new head educator. The princesses delved into traditional feminine pursuits like music, dancing, and the arts. However, their mother made sure that they also received a well-rounded education, including subjects like English, French, German, and geography, taught by knowledgeable governesses. Princess Augusta Sophia's childhood and adolescence were filled with not only the privileges of royalty but also a commitment to learning and personal growth. Her unique upbringing and the diverse range of skills she acquired set the stage for her intriguing future. Princess Augusta, though deemed childish in comparison to her older sister, was Miss Planter's favourite among the princesses, who even went so far as to declare her handsomest of all. However, Augusta's charming appearance concealed a painfully shy nature, and when faced with unfamiliar faces, she often found herself stammering. Right from her early years, Augusta was driven by a strong desire to be good, which left her disheartened whenever she fell short of her own expectations. Her behaviour swung between troublesome and well-mannered, with occasional tantrums and even striking her governesses. Yet she also possessed a serene disposition and a deep affection for her family. Augusta harboured a profound dislike for the political tensions that had arisen between her elder brothers and their parents by 1780, choosing instead to immerse herself in her beloved coin collection. Shielded from the outside world like her sisters, Augusta's sole confidants were her attendants, with whom she maintained a frequent correspondence. In 1782, Augusta made her much-anticipated society debut at the King's birthday celebrations. Fearful of crowds, her mother kept her in the dark about the event until a mere 2 days before it took place. The same year brought heart-wrenching tragedies, as Augusta mourned the loss of her youngest brother Alfred, followed by the passing of her next youngest brother Octavius 8 months later. When the princesses attended the Royal Academy's summer expedition in 1783, the portraits of their departed brothers overwhelmed them, leading to tearful outbursts before onlookers. In August of that year, Augusta's youngest sibling, Amelia, was born, and she, along with Charlotte and George, stood as a godparent. While the birth of her sister didn't erase the pain of her brothers' deaths, Augusta chose not to dwell on their loss like their father did. As the 3 eldest princesses entered their teenage years, they increasingly spent time in the company of their parents. They accompanied them to the theatre, the opera, and courtly affairs, with their once academic lessons taking a backseat to music and the arts. They had the privilege of hearing renowned actresses like Sarah Siddons perform, and Augusta, alongside Charlotte and their parents, had the opportunity to meet John Adams when he was presented to the Queen. Whenever seen in public, the three girls were impeccably dressed alike, the only distinction being the colour of their dresses. Despite their frequent public appearances, Augusta found her greatest joy in the comfort of home, where she doted on her younger brothers Ernest, Augustus and Adolphus. She shared an exceptionally close bond with her sister Elizabeth, as Charlotte often displayed haughty behaviour and an excessive awareness of her position as a Princess Royal. As Augusta and the Princess Royal approached a marriageable age, a significant change occurred in their lives. In July 1783, they were assigned their First Lady-in-Waiting, marking a step towards their future roles as potential brides. Augusta, eager for news and connection, frequently corresponded with her elder brother William, who was undergoing military training in Hanover. She proved to be a skilled and devoted correspondent, sharing family updates and encouraging him to share the events of his own life. Augusta delighted in her brother's attention and cherished the small gifts that he sent her, and despite the Queen's attempt to dissuade William from taking up too much of his sister's valuable time. While their academic lessons were winding down, the Queen was determined not to let her daughters waste a moment, ensuring that they dedicated hours to studying music, art, and various specialities under the tutelage of different masters. The princesses adhered to a peculiar dress code, only dressing for dinner and wearing morning gowns for the majority of the day. Even when they did dress up, the royal family favoured plain attire, far removed from the extravagant opulence seen in other courts. With 6 princesses in the household, the Queen's expenses for clothing alone were extortionate, and she made efforts to keep costs within the limits of her allowance. Transitioning into this new phase of life meant that the amount of money spent on the Queen's 3 eldest daughters was rapidly escalating. Constantly in need of dresses, hats, trimmings, fans and other items, the princesses proved to be a considerable drain on the royal purse. Quarterly expenses for their wardrobe were estimated to be £2,000, and when combined with the cost of their servants and tutors, the figures became even more staggering. However, there was an unintended benefit. The princesses began to capture the public's attention. When their group portrait was displayed to the people, their porcelain-like beauty sparked admiration. Dressed identically, only their choice of accessories hinted at the distinct personalities concealed underneath their painted veneer. By 1785, Augusta and Charlotte were reaching an age where it would be considered as potential brides for foreign princes. The Crown Prince of Denmark, later known as King Frederick VI, expressed to King George III his intention to break off all other marriage proposals for a British princess. It was rumoured that he favoured Augusta over her elder sisters. However, due to the ill treatment of George III's younger sister by King Christian VII of Denmark, the king staunchly declared that he would never send one of his daughters to the Danish court. As their friends and fellow courtiers began to marry, the princesses found themselves wondering when their turn would come. In 1797, Augusta received a proposal from Prince Frederick Adolf of Sweden, an offer that had not been sanctioned by the Swedish royal house. A British princess, especially from a fertile mother, was highly sought after, yet their father appeared increasingly reluctant to allow his daughters to enter into marriage alliances, raising questions and concerns among the princesses about their future prospects. Denied the opportunity for personal relationships with men of their own rank, several daughters of King George III embarked on clandestine romances with gentlemen at court. Augusta Sophia's path crossed with Sir Brent Spencer, a senior Anglo-Irish officer in the British Army around 1800. In a letter to her brother, the future King George IV, in 1812, Augusta revealed that she and Spencer had formed a deep connection around 1803, during his time stationed in England. Their bond grew stronger when Spencer was appointed as an equerry to the king in 1805. Fueled by passion, the couple carefully nurtured their love affair, ensuring the utmost privacy. In her plea to the Prince Regent for consent to marry Spencer, Augusta promised to maintain their discretion and public behaviour. While there is no official record of their marriage, rumours circulated within the court of Hesse-Homburg during her sister Elizabeth's wedding in 1818 that Augusta was secretly wedded. It was Spencer who conveyed the news of Augusta's mother's passing later that year, and upon Spencer's own death in 1828, he was found holding a locket containing Augusta's portrait, further attesting to the depth of their connection. In her later years, Augusta remained devoted to various interests. She was known to be a patron of El Bertolotto's flea circus, as documented in a flyer held by the V&A archives. In 1828, she expressed her sentiments to a friend, stating that she once felt ashamed to be called Princess Augusta, while any surviving members of the Stuart family still existed. However, after the passing of Cardinal York in 1807, she finally embraced her true identity as Princess Augusta. On the 10th of February 1840, Augusta attended the momentous wedding of her niece, Queen Victoria, to Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg in Gotha. Later that year, on the 22nd of September, Augusta passed away at Clarence House at St James's, London. She was laid to rest in the Royal Vault at St George's Chapel, Windsor, on the 2nd of October, following a period of lying in state at Frogmore. Augusta Sophia's life was marked by hidden passions and a longing for personal connection, making her journey all the more intriguing and enigmatic.